I don't really get why they made a remake of this movie. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The Strangers, Chapter 1, is directed by Renny Harlin and stars Madeline Peach and Froy Gutierrez. The film follows a couple that goes on a weekend getaway in an Airbnb in the forest when they get attacked by three people in mass as they hunt the couple down for sport. I'm a fan of the original Strangers. I don't think that it's a classic, that it's a horror classic by any means, but I do enjoy the movie. I enjoy the performances and the atmosphere of the film. And when I heard that this was actually a remake rather than like a prequel to this original film, I was just really confused because why would you make a remake of the original Strangers? It just came out in 2008. It's not that long ago. So I don't really understand it. And going into this movie, I wasn't really anticipating anything. I wasn't really excited for this movie because, let's face it, remakes sometimes, most of the times, aren't really all that great. And here, I just don't think that this movie was really all that good. It was pretty poor actually. Some cool scenes. It had some cool scenes, some suspenseful scenes in it. I like a few moments here and there, but that's few and far between. Overall, I was pretty disappointed with The Strangers Chapter 1, and I think that they're making this trilogy. I'm really scratching my head as to why. I know that this movie ends with to be continued. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm not gonna say how it ends. But I just don't see any material for chapter 2 or 3. I'm not interested in knowing and watching more. Just because they did the same thing that we saw in the original Strangers. It's basically the same thing, but just not done as well as the original film. I think that the characters here, the couple, is very bland. I did not buy their chemistry at all, and while I like the girl more than the guy, I think that the girl here, Vanilla Pitch, I thought she did okay with the material that she had. She wasn't great by any means, but she was better than her co-star, who seemed really robotic at times, and he almost didn't act like a normal human being. It was almost as if the filmmakers wanted us to think he was in with the guys in the mask. I felt that, and I just was scratching my head when it was the way he acted. Like, well, he blames his girlfriend for like hallucinating or being on drugs after first like smoking a joint, and it just doesn't seem real at all. And like I didn't buy their chemistry. There's a scene where they're eating burgers, and it's just, oh my god, it's really poorly done. And you're supposed to root for these characters, but you could care less if the strangers killed them. The script is just awful. The dialogue is really horrendous. There was more than a couple of lines that made me just roll my eyes. It was really bad, guys. I don't like this film at all. Well, I did think that there were a few scenes that had suspense potential. There were a lot of jump scares. There was very little blood, and I can just predict everything that's going to happen. It's really a predictable movie. And one other thing, there are a lot of things that are set up, but they aren't really answered, like this inhaler. Without getting much away, there's something with this inhaler, and like it's not really a big thing, as well as like the opening shot of the film. I don't understand this opening shot at all. I think that it was just there for an introduction to the strangers, but you don't have any context to it. You're just in the moment, and it's just terrible. It's a terrible way to open the film, as with there's some text at the beginning, and the texts are completely useless. They're there just for shock value, but it just doesn't really link to the rest of the film. It's just there, and you have to accept it because filmmaker put it a part in this movie. And I really don't like this the way it was directed. There's a lot of close-ups, like I said, a lot of jump scares, and the tension is really non-existent. The performances here are just really bland, and they're really uninteresting characters, and which is too bad because I like going out to see a good horror film, an interesting horror movie that has something to offer, something to show, or just like give me some good thrills. That's all I'm asking for. But here, Strangers Chapter 1, there are none. There are no good thrills, no suspense, no good characters, and I'm not really excited to see more. I'm gonna check out Chapter 2 just because I have a channel, but I wouldn't check it out otherwise. I'm really disappointed with this film. It's not like god awful. I didn't want to walk out. I at least had interest in seeing how it played out. But if you've seen the original, you kind of know how it's gonna play out. But I at least didn't want to walk out, so I guess that's a compliment. I'd give this movie like a D plus. I really didn't enjoy it. It's one of the weakest films of the year for sure. I just don't understand why they're remaking this film, this franchise. And the second installment just came out like a few years ago. It's not that. So this was a terrible idea from the get-go. You should have just done a different story or a different thing altogether, and pick somebody else to direct this, because this movie is poorly directed. Let me know what you thought about The Strangers Chapter 1 down in the comments below. Please see you next time. Bye.